Then Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, Take Aaron and his sons with him, and the garments and the anointing oil and the bull of the sin offering and the 2 rams and the basket of unleavened bread, and assemble all the congregation at the doorway of the tent of meeting. So Moses did just as Yahweh commanded him. Then the congregation was assembled at the doorway of the tent of meeting, and Moses said to the congregation, This is the thing which Yahweh has commanded to do. Then Moses had Aaron and his sons come near and washed them with water. And he put the tunic on him and girded him with the sash and clothed him with the robe and put the ephod on him, and he girded him with the skillfully woven band of the ephod, with which he tied it to him. He then placed the breastpiece on him, and in the breastpiece he put the Urim and the Thummim. He also placed the turban on his head, and on the turban, at its front, he placed the golden plate, the holy crown, just as Yahweh had commanded Moses. Moses then took the anointing oil and anointed the tabernacle and all that was in it and set them apart as holy. And he sprinkled some of it on the altar 7 times and anointed the altar and all its utensils and the laver and its stand to set them apart as holy. Then he poured some of the anointing oil on Aaron's head and anointed him to set him apart as holy. Next Moses brought Aaron's sons near and clothed them with tunics and girded them with sashes and bound caps on them, just as Yahweh had commanded Moses. Then he brought the bull of the sin offering, and Aaron and his sons laid their hands on the head of the bull of the sin offering. Next Moses slaughtered it and took the blood and with his finger put some of it around on the horns of the altar and purified the altar. Then he poured out the rest of the blood at the base of the altar and set it apart as holy, to make atonement for it. He also took all the fat that was on the entrails, and the lobe of the liver, and the 2 kidneys and their fat, and Moses offered it up in smoke on the altar. But the bull and its hide and its flesh and its refuse he burned in the fire outside the camp, just as Yahweh had commanded Moses. Then he brought near the ram of the burnt offering, and Aaron and his sons laid their hands on the head of the ram. Then Moses slaughtered it and splashed the blood around on the altar. And he cut the ram into its pieces. Then Moses offered up the head and the pieces and the suet in smoke. And he washed the entrails and the legs with water. Then Moses offered up the whole ram in smoke on the altar. It was a burnt offering for a soothing aroma. It was an offering by fire to Yahweh, just as Yahweh had commanded Moses. Then he brought near the second ram, the ram of ordination, and Aaron and his sons laid their hands on the head of the ram. And Moses slaughtered it and took some of its blood and put it on the lobe of Aaron's right ear and on the thumb of his right hand and on the big toe of his right foot. He also brought Aaron's sons near, and Moses put some of the blood on the lobe of their right ear and on the thumb of their right hand and on the big toe of their right foot. Moses then splashed the rest of the blood around on the altar. And he took the fat, and the fat tail, and all the fat that was on the entrails, and the lobe of the liver, and the 2 kidneys and their fat, and the right thigh. From the basket of unleavened bread that was before Yahweh, he took 1 unleavened cake and 1 cake of bread mixed with oil and 1 wafer, and he placed them on the portions of fat and on the right thigh. He then put all these on the hands of Aaron and on the hands of his sons, and waved them as a wave offering before Yahweh. Then Moses took them from their hands and offered them up in smoke on the altar with the burnt offering. They were an ordination offering for a soothing aroma. It was an offering by fire to Yahweh. Moses also took the breast and waved it as a wave offering before Yahweh. It was Moses' portion of the ram of ordination, just as Yahweh had commanded Moses. So Moses took some of the anointing oil and some of the blood which was on the altar and sprinkled it on Aaron, on his garments, on his sons, and on the garments of his sons with him, and he set Aaron apart as holy, his garments and his sons and the garments of his sons with him. Then Moses said to Aaron and to his sons, Boil the flesh at the doorway of the tent of meeting, and eat it there together with the bread which is in the basket of the ordination offering, just as I commanded, saying, Aaron and his sons shall eat it. And the remainder of the flesh and of the bread you shall burn in the fire. And you shall not go outside the doorway of the tent of meeting for 7 days, until the day that the period of your ordination is fulfilled, for he will ordain you through 7 days. Yahweh has commanded to do as has been done this day, to make atonement on your behalf. At the doorway of the tent of meeting, moreover, you shall remain day and night for 7 days and keep the charge of Yahweh, so that you will not die, for so I have been commanded. Thus Aaron and his sons did all the things which Yahweh had commanded through Moses.